Okay, in this video, I'm going to do my best to cover the heroes to upgrade and the gear that should be pushed on them. For most people, pushing tanks will be the easiest. There's no real meta. Like, yes, a lot of the big wigs, they like to run air because it'll just wipe out practically any tank squad. But for the majority of us, a very strong tank squad will be sufficient. So, starting off, your defense heroes. Now, how do you know that they are defense? If you look at where I'm clicking, you see the shield icon. That means they're for defense. When it comes to them, you want to upgrade the gear on the right first. Get them up to 40 first and foremost. And then from there, well, on top of this, whenever you're upgrading a gear, any gear, doesn't matter what it is, it must be done in increments of 10. The reason why is that there are bonuses given at each level of 10. Okay? So I don't have any bubbles on this, but each level has its own thing of 10, right at the 10 mark. Okay, so you want to get these done first. In fact, if you can, as much as possible, you want to do them in levels of 20. What I mean by that is don't leave it at 10 or 30. It's better to keep them or push to 20 or 40. And in the case of the bubbles, you want to push them to 2 bubbles at a 2 or 4 bubbles. The reason why is that, say on this one, the reactive armor, at the second bubble, you get a 20% physical damage resistance. At the 4th bubble, you get an additional 20% for 40% in total. These are at the 20 and 40 marks. Okay? And for the radar, same idea, but this is for energy damage resistance. 20 given at each level. Okay? Now, this applies for all of your heroes, but it also applies for your defensive. On the data chip, at 2 bubbles, let me start fresh. At 20 and 40, and at 2 bubbles and 4 bubbles, there is a damage resistance, like to all damage, all types. So that's energy and physical. Okay, and it's 2%, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it does add up and is quite effective. Okay, so you'd like to get these as well. Okay, now moving on to attack. Now, attack heroes, how do you know it's an attack? Because you have an explosion thing right here. Okay, whoops, not what I wanted. Okay, do it, give it to me. There we go. Capable of dealing significant damage. Okay, so you want, now this is critical that you understand this. I made the mistake. Do not follow my mistake. Do not ever put a do not ever put a red blueprint on a gun. It is completely useless to do that. The most you should get a gun is to 4 bubbles. For the skill chip here, you should do it to, again, the increments of 20 for that resistance. Okay? Well, you can see. So this second bubble is 4%, and this bubble is at 2%. That's from, like, this is 4%. You know what? I'm going to shut up because I don't know why it's 4%. All right? Now, the reason why a red gun is complete and total bullshit When down here, damage boost on counters against enemy is 10%. This is where reading the fine print is very important. When countering units, the stronger side inflicts greater damage with calculations done separately. The unit counters are as follows: tanks counter missile, missile counters air, and air counters tanks. At first glance, reading this, you would believe, which is what I did, that my counter is air because they counter me. And so I'd get this 10% damage done to them. That is not the case at all. I get 10% more damage to missile squads. And there's not a lot of people running missile, and it's bushwhack against tanks. It's just dumb. Don't do it. I did it twice before I realized it was bullshit. Do not make the same mistake. Okay? Now, moving on. As you can see, I'm an idiot. Now, for Marshall, he is a support type. Okay, provides diverse buffs to teammates. For his gear, you want to focus on the defense. Okay, I just learned this not too long ago, but you want to boost his defense gear before touching his attack gear. Okay, so that's fairly simple. That's about that. And this applies, what I've just mentioned so far, applies to all heroes regardless of whether they are air or missile. Okay? Now, for defense. Back onto the skills. If I remember this correctly, I don't remember the exact order, but I can tell you which two you should focus on, and that is the top right and bottom left. Okay, top right, after casting the skill, boost the physical damage reduction of the front units by X amount percentage. Okay, and this one, reduce all damage taken in battle for the two front row units. Personally, I have no idea. I'm sure someone somewhere will have the answer for this, but I personally saw them as being equally important, so it's not worth just pushing one and then doing the other. My recommendation is to just get them up equally at the same time. Okay? Because as this goes up, as you see, it's 30,000 skill medals, right? And for each jump at this point, like it's a difference of 0.30%, which is not a lot on its own, but add it all up, it starts to make a difference. But just like where I'm sitting right now, I'd get three notches on it, right? And if this one, for example, was down at 20, I could probably get 5 to 6 or maybe even 7 or more. I don't know, I don't remember, but it's not worth just getting 0.90% versus whatever amount this would be giving you, right? Just get it, all adds up. My recommendation is just do them together and bring them up. Now for attack, I don't remember exactly, but I think what was said was top right, then top left, and then bottom left. Pretty sure that was what I have read and seen in guides, so you can follow that. Same with Stet, he's same idea. Now Marshall is more, same idea as the defense. Top right, bottom left, do them together, bring them up together. You have no other reason to do it differently. His attack one, I mean, obviously every hero has, has an auto attack, and they are worth doing. But I would trail these for defense and support. I would trail this node behind by whatever amount that you want compared to these two. These two should be your main focus for support and defense, and attack. Just do them all together. That's just how I did it. I think that's just about it when it comes to all this stuff. I think the last thing maybe to go over is red blueprints for sure should be spent on defense gear pretty much only, because it's the only place where it's actually worth it. And I'll show you why. Okay, reduce damage from critical hits 30%. This is across the board. This is not from counters, from this, from blah blah blah. No bullshit. This is just across the board. Okay, I don't know. Yeah, okay, so this would also be bullshit, right? On the data chip, red blueprints on this are complete bullshit, because it's just not what you think it's going to do. So it's just bullshit. Don't put any red blueprints on the left side of any hero. Complete bullshit. Now, when the first one that I would recommend putting a red blueprint is on the radar, because it reduces the damage 30% versus the armor, which does reduce chances of taking critical hits by 15%. You're still going to get critical hits. I'd prefer them hit a little bit less, right? So I would do the radar first. My next thing that I'm going to try and push, well, I just got Marshall Mathers here to 2 bubbles each. I think I'm going to leave him there like that for now. My next that I'm going to be pushing is Williams. That's what I'm going to be doing. So, and when I'm able, I'm going to give his radar the red blueprint. Okay? So, anyways, I hope this all helped. It's a bit of a mishmash. It's not really well choreographed. I'm a little all over the place because I've got Paul Anka in my ear. But I hope this was able to clear a bunch of things up for y'all. And yeah, if you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer. Ciao, Bella.